Yeah.
All right, all right. Hello, welcome everybody to another video boxing podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. It's a good friend, Mr. BDA, and I sure am glad. Sure am glad that everybody could be on board for this one, fellas. In this episode, we've got a fantastic one for you. There's a lot of breaking news out there in the boxing sphere. We're going to get to that. We're also going to possibly talk about the fights that are going to be taking place this Saturday. And we're going to be taking your phone calls near the end of the hour so that you can chime in on all the latest developments occurring, like I said, in this boxing sphere. Before we get down to the fun, let's get the business out of the way, fellas. You know the drill. If you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you're certainly welcome to do so via the Super Chat feature. It's always better if you join the membership program. That way you get more bang for your buck. But the most important thing is that you continue to like, subscribe, spread that BDA gospel, all right, fellas? Don't forget you can check us out on Spotify, iTunes, and Spreaker at your leisure, all right? So I got a big shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm talking about Harp Janda, Nightmurph, King Bucho, Drexivan21, SSC in the house. Shout out to SSC. Uncle Burnt Apostrophe. Olaf is in the house. Wayne Fitness. Jesus M. Alejandro Marquez. Super Sardonic. Warp Speed in the house. Shout out to Warp Speed. Shout out to Blight Boy. Shout out to Rapax Trucking Company 10-4. Double J in the house. Som Rando. Timothy Figueroa. The Gucci Berserk, round 1. How many more people to come? I'm sure, fellas. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. All right. That's right. Timothy Figueroa says spooky season. That's right. It's the start of spooky season. We're right in the smack dab in the middle of October. So we pull out all the guns here for the spooky Halloween season. All right. Most of you have probably heard the breaking news. Now I'm not talking about the press conference between Prograis and Haney. We'll get to that. But it appears to be the end of an era. Those are the headlines we're seeing across all the major boxing publications and websites. Showtime is exiting boxing after 37 years in the sport. This according to Mike Coppinger. I mean, this was rumored. People saw it coming. You know, if you applied a little logic to the boxing world, you could see this coming. And yet there were still some people out there trying to paint you as a psycho if you dare to suggest that maybe Showtime boxing wasn't doing all that well. I see we got King Bucho in the house and we got Never Sobers. Guys, can you hear me? Am I coming in loud and clear?
Yeah, what's up, BDA?
What's up, fellas? Thank you for being on. Who wants to start in this more or less predictable event that just occurred?
I guess I'll go. I think it's good for boxing. The PBC is a piece of shit.
Oh,
they haven't done like since 2015. They really fucked it up. Now some people are gonna say, well, you know, all of boxing isn't doing that well right now, and it's true. But the PBC, if you guys remember, in 2015, they had a roster of over 200 fighters. They had $500 million, and what did they do with all of those resources? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And now this year has been okay, although we've had so many pay-per-views. But it's been 1 year, guys. What happened during the last 8 years? Nothing. Or 7 years, I should say. So it's good that, you know, the PBC, I mean, they're going to have to do something. Maybe they're going to have to release some fighters. And I think PBC was bad for boxing, so this is very good news. And by the way, those people who were celebrating when HBO died, I don't know what they're gonna be doing now. I mean, they're coming out with excuses.
You know what, Bucho? I started doing the rounds on Twitter to see what people are saying, and you're not real boxing fans if you're celebrating this. I'm thinking, well, of course you shouldn't celebrate it, but some of these same people were celebrating, like you said, when HBO died. Now all of a sudden they're not keeping
because HBO was racist, apparently.
Yeah, now they're not keeping the same energy, as they love to say in the streets nowadays. Never Sober.
This is not about racism. This is about matchmaking. They fucked it up. Their matches were shit. They had all these fighters and they never fought each other. Rarely fought each other. You know, after a few years they would finally fight each other, but the damage would be done by that time.
Well, I mean, this is why people were saying, and I remember Boxing Chief said that too. He said, you know, they're getting rid of the inventory right now. in with the PBC. That's why they're letting guys like Fulton go. And Fulton himself said it. He says, "Hey, Al Heyman gave me permission to fight Inoue because they knew they needed to make these fights happen because they were auditioning. They were creating a strong year result so that they could present it as a package to whoever it is that they're trying to sell their the product to, whether it's Amazon or the Zone. But I mean, yeah, people saw this coming, man. Like, Bucho, people try to come at you sometimes and they do go, "Oh, if the PBC is doing so bad, it's supposed to die. When is it gonna die?" They would say that sarcastically, and you made the great point. Say, well, compared to where it was 4 years ago, you telling me it's been doing better, it's improving, or has it gotten worse? Then all of a sudden, silence.
It's gotten worse, but they blame other factors for this. Yeah. What about these guys? What about them? The whole sport is suffering. The whole sport, but not these other promotional companies didn't have $500 million to spend. They didn't have over 200 fighters, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the thing. Never Sobers. Are they going to be blaming Whitey for this somehow, or?
They're probably going to turn on Espinoza. You know what I mean? They're going to start questioning his real lineage. Like, are you really Hispanic? Who put the crabs in the bucket, BDA? They're going to start asking them kind of questions.
Oh yeah, the crab in the bucket. Yeah, you said people they know that term, right? It's something that they love to mention.
They identify with, yeah.
But this is interesting, man, because
when crabs are in a bucket, they're trying to climb out, and as soon as one gets near the top, another one will pull it down, trying to climb over it.
Right.
So they end up killing each other instead of helping each other.
Well, listen. First of all, let's go back to the headlines here, and I want to get back to what you said there. But Michael Benson had this to say, because the official statement in the article here from Mike Coppinger is initially he said that the PBC refused to comment, but this was the official Paramount announcement. And by the way, take note of the corporate speak that they love. I mean, it's a well-written press release. As we evolve our strategy to more efficiently allocate resources and align our content offering across the business, we've made the difficult decision not to move forward with boxing and other content produced by the Showtime sports team. So it's the whole fucking Showtime. Like other people were saying on this panel, Bellator and all that, it's gone. Showtime will continue to air and support the remaining 2023 boxing slate and honor obligations throughout the end of the year. So like I said, it's 2024, they're out. And then this is what Benson had to say. Benson said that there was a statement from Steven Espinosa that said, the company's decision is not a reflection of the work we have done in the recent years, nor of our long and proud history. Unfortunately, in a rapidly evolving media marketplace, the company has had to make difficult choices, allocating resources, resetting priorities, and reshaping its content offering. While today's news is certainly difficult and disappointing, it is entirely out of our control. Now, would it have been necessarily out of their control had they put on good fights consistently?
Definitely, they would have been sticking around. But this thing brings up two questions in my head, bro. Because the PBC is supposed to have been died a couple times, but Showtime boxing's dying. Not necessarily the PBC.
Sure.
So I wouldn't, if people don't want to see that ship go down, I wouldn't be celebrating until you see where they end up. Because Amazon could throw a lot of money at them. Bezos has a lot of money. So what if Heyman can talk about it some and keep the PBC alive through him for a while longer?
That's what I was thinking.
Like that. You know what I mean?
But the celebration thing, I'm not celebrating the downfall of Showtime. I mean, because it's going to make it hard now for other networks and platforms.
I am. Because why? What was good? Tell me anything positive that came out of the PBC. What was positive out of the PBC?
But it's not about the positivity. It's about
these fighters are not going to die. BDA. These guys the boxers are not going to fucking die with the PBC or with Showtime, whatever. They're still there. They just have to find a new home.
Can I say something? Let me say why. Let me say why I think this is bad, because it's going to make it hard now for potentially for other platforms to look at this and go, oh, wait a minute, why should we get into boxing when all these other fucking networks lost money on it or decided not to pursue a partnership, long-term partnership with the PBC? That's what I'm saying. It's bad. But you're right. The fighters themselves are not going to fucking...
somebody just needs to explain to these networks why boxing has been on the decline. They don't understand what's going on. Like you say, yeah, sure, they see these networks dropping boxing, but they don't understand why they're dropping boxing. And it's not because boxing is boring or something like that. It's that big fights are not being made. And then you ask yourself, okay, but who's responsible for that? I mean, sure, the fighters and everything, but the PBC was also highly responsible for this, right?
Absolutely.
And its creation, just from the beginning, it's a Ponzi scheme, basically, almost. Remember, with Al Heyman always getting his cut from fights, and that's a reason why they were kicked out. The PBC is a failed product.
Well, I mean, yeah, by any metric, can you say that this was a successful product? I mean, it was successful for Heyman, right?
No,
Because he got his percentage every time
it was
anybody.
reserved for him, not for the fans, and that's pretty much it. People need from outside boxing who are looking at this and they don't understand what's going on. They need to get educated on how boxing has been managed for the last 10 years.
No, that doesn't work either.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to work with any other. Because again, it's not a question of the PBC dying. They might as go to another platform. But they're saying in all these press releases and all these articles that it's either the Zone or Amazon. And from the same people that told you,
Prime.
but from the same people that told you that this was going to happen, the end of Showtime Boxing, they're the same ones that are saying that Amazon, if indeed the PBC inks a deal with Amazon, they're probably not going to put any money into it. They're just going to act as a distributor. So
Yeah.
What about the Zone? I heard the Zone. There's a rumor that the Zone's going to take in the PBC.
I mean, that's a rumor,
the
right?
Zone is terrible.
I
So
hope,
they might as well.
I hope PBC goes to the Zone. That would be such beautiful poetic justice. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
The Zone is terrible too. So they might as well. Might as well take the PBC, give it a shot, see if it works out. It's not going to work out.
If both are on if both the PBC and Matchroom Boxing and De La Hoya, it's also they're also on the Zone. Wouldn't that be better for fans? Because then maybe we could get some fights happening. Some these promotional companies might start working together.
You know something, Bucha? No matter what network picks these guys up, as long as you got two promotional entities refusing to put their best fighters, because we know that in some weight classes, in a lot of weight classes, there's like really 2 or 3 good fighters, maybe two fighters. One is signed with this promotion and the other one is signed with the other one. They don't fight. So
yeah, but this time they're on the same network. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe if they put them on the same network, maybe they'll fight each other. Now they can't.
Oh, easier at least. It's one barrier. It's one barrier that's down.
Well, we got a lot of people jumping in here. We got Never Sobers, we got Recognize, we got the Guns, aka Gonzalo, we got Jimmy, the Jim Marino. We're talking about the fact that it's official, Showtime getting out of boxing in 2024. And we're talking about, eventually people are going to start talking about who's to blame. And some people aren't going to like it. Some people are going to dislike it. Well, why you want to play the blame game? Well, because it's a boxing show, number one, and we're supposed to talk about the certain business aspects of it too. But guys, we saw this coming, and yet some people refuse to see it. Why do you think some people refuse to see it? What's the end game here for some people? What's the agenda?
Because they were celebrating when HBO went out of boxing, and I remember maybe I will make a video about this. All these reasons that were being mentioned by a certain community. That were like the reasons they were saying that HBO dropped boxing because they were racist. They weren't promoting certain fighters, certain black fighters. They were making it pretty racial, and they were celebrating also that HBO dropped boxing because at that time Al Heyman was with Showtime, right? And so, in their view, Showtime and Heyman were responsible for the downfall of HBO boxing, which was completely ridiculous. That wasn't even the reason why. So
that doesn't even sound like boxing.
Yeah, I find it kind of ironic now. I find it ironic, but go ahead.
Well, they try to credit Al Heyman and Showtime of putting HBO out of boxing for all the wrong reasons. Right? It had nothing to do with like Showtime and HBO, but Heyman putting out a better product. HBO never survived Al Heyman's tenure there. I remember the quote, toxic business practices and his tribalization of the networks turned them off so bad to the sport that when he left, they weren't allowed to say his name at events. Like when Triple G fought the other kid from HBO. I mean, the first kid who fled the island, who showed up as a cruiserweight.
Dan
First, I
Jacobs.
was
Danny
there and I can't
Jacobs.
remember. Hey, thank you guys, Danny Jacobs. So yes, so HBO was done from there. Like Peter admitted that later than Nelson. Like it just never. They put such a toxic and bad taste in their mouth, and the way Heyman ran the place, he drove the numbers into the toilet, which the same thing he did at Showtime. Their numbers, their viewer numbers, the ratings. That's all that counts. And I know a lot of people calling the show recently and, oh gosh, what are you talking about? It's the best year they ever had. It's like, what do you think? People who buy, throwing billion-dollar corporations are going to look at, what did you guys do over the last 90 days? Fuck out of here. They're going to look at the whole thing, sit down and see where the money he spent for, like I said, abysmal ratings and laughable pay-per-view numbers. They were
Jimmy,
terrible.
what happened with that
Okay,
$500 billion? $500 million. What happened? Remember in
that was
2015?
gone. Well, yeah, his lawyer actually said in 2017. Remember, the PBC was launched in May of 2015. His lawyer was in court doing a defamation suit brought against him by Bob Arum, which everybody says Heyman won, which he didn't. Heyman won. The Golden Boy was thrown out. He had to pay Bob an undisclosed amount of money. So it's that his lawyer told the judge that he only had, I think, $80 million in workable capital, and that was supposed to last for 5 years because it was supposed to be a 5-year plan to bring boxing back to free TV. So I think it's easy. Like I just posted a tweet that was Steve Kim's idea, and then Heymanites made it. It's pretty funny. It shows Al Heyman as the Terminator. They call him the Heymanator. First HBO, now Showtime. Nobody takes out premium cable networks like the Heymanator or some shit.
Well, I mean,
Funny
that raises the point that Heyman was making money, and if there's anything you gotta avoid doing is underestimating that guy, because he seems to be good at persuasion. He persuades people into giving him money, and that he works with their money. He doesn't work with his. Kind of like a good con man in a way, because he's destroying all these networks and the sport, and yet he keeps
Well, he's really only did that once. He did that with when he swindled the retiree funds. Other than that, it was just the Showtime he was in bed with. And it cost, let's not forget, too, and not only did they cut, boxing, but they blasted Espinoza, got the walk-in papers, too, which is not surprising. I mean, abysmal, the worst numbers in the history of boxing on Showtime. It steadily, every year, got worse and worse. He was pulling 100,000 100,000. You have 31 million subscribers, and you're barely hitting 100,000, and you're consistently in last place in the Nielsen ratings, in the key demographic especially. That's poison. And then the money he threw at that, he threw more money at boxing than he did inside the NFL or any other sport, and they were pulling poor numbers. And say people, they did the 1.1 with Garcia, and Tank, but but look at Garcia's 6 pay-per-views before that. Right, that one's 70. They're all 75% or better, lower numbers. So it is what it is.
Some people are they tell us, well, you're just picking on the PBC. Other promotional companies have been also struggling in making the big fights. Blah 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 blah. Can you just clarify why we mentioned the PBC? Why it stands out from the rest of these promotional companies?
Well, you got to remember, you look at, again, 30,000 feet. They started in 2015. He tried to put everybody out of business. That was his intention. Even his boy Al Bernstein, from his announcer, said it on Twitter in that Twitter interaction when he basically, the kid said some nasty shit about him, and he said, but Al, you got to admit, he was trying. That was a coup. He tried to take over boxing. And he said, yes, he did. He absolutely did. There was no mistaking what he did. He sandbagged Oscar, took his whole stable away from him, and then he bought up every conceivable TV time slot. He was buying them up, paying more money than he should have. He was buying all that time, and he was just throwing fights because the product wasn't the important thing. The important thing was to make it almost impossible for any other promoter to compete. So literally everybody was fighting for their thing, and they outlasted him. But because he's a music guy and he didn't realize, not only is it important that you match them properly, it's also important that you build a storyline, you keep them active. And
Well,
he's
I
just
got
a
a
music
question
guy.
though.
He's not a
I got a
boxing guy.
question. In hindsight, and I know it's asking, I'm asking people to speculate, but Showtime must have known at least the last 3 years that holy shit, this shit ain't working out. Why did they continue staying in that hole? Why didn't they do this sooner? Or I guess again, I'm asking people to speculate, but
It's
I think.
the
Well, I was
it's
gonna say. I think he had
that
his.
all we need is
Sorry,
one
go.
good. I'm sorry, Jimmy. All we need is like it's that hope that all we need is like one good event, one good year to dig us out of this hole. But in reality, that's not going to happen. You ever see yourself like you're like, God damn, I'm losing money. I'm losing money. I just need one good score, and you keep going at it, and because you've gotten those good scores in your past, maybe in your past lifetime or in that field. I
mhm.
think that's what it was, like a hope, and then they were starting to realize, oh shit, this hole is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm fucking sinking with this guy until you get this. They're like, this is them tapping out, saying, "Yo, we can't do it no more.
Hey,
We
by the
can't do
way,
this
but
shit no more. We're done."
before Jimmy goes,
And I.
Butcher, this is
Yes.
before you go, Jimmy. This is what Butcher was talking about. Some guy in the chat says, "Why are people acting like Top Rank and Matchroom and Golden Boy don't do the same thing?" I mean, rewind
They
2-3
don't.
minutes, man. Yeah, rewind it. Rewind the stream, please, because
I
we
told
just
Jimmy
covered
to
that.
clarify, to
Yeah.
give us a time, like the whole story for the PBC. You got to look at from its inception, from the beginning, from 2015. How much
What
money
its
do they have?
intentions were.
How many fighters? Yeah, Jimmy, go ahead, take it away.
Well,
These people
yeah,
don't get it.
you were laying it out. He had $750 million with one intention: to sandbag every promoter and create a PB. Remember, they ordered their own belts. He was going to do away with the sanctioning bodies. It was going to be PBC belts. I mean, he wanted to run it a la UFC. And what happened was he didn't realize just putting two random dudes in a fighting in a place with no geographical relevance to either guy doesn't sell. He didn't do sellouts, and no, it's ridiculous to say that. Hey, I mean, just look at the fights that Bob. I mean, he was always matching his guys tough. Lomachenko never fought fucking slug after slug after slug. You just look at, for instance, there's no further to see his how bad his promotion style. I guess if you want to use that, is just look at the carnage, right? Carnage Row. It was described to me recently as what he did to the elites of his thing. Why do you think they all, when pushed him to shove and they crossed the street or they fought top ranked guys or guys outside who weren't brought along by Al Heyman, they got smoked? I mean, Wilder, fucking Fulton, Spence, Charlo. It's because they fight too infrequently and they're not match tough enough. They're all sitting around waiting for the biggest payday, avoiding any real fights. Nobody else is doing that. I mean, Golden Boy isn't matching his guys as much as I'd like to, but then again, he's more in a precarious spot because he doesn't have many guys. He loses a guy, and it becomes a big deal for him right now. He's got to build his stable back up.
Jimmy, that's a good point. That's a
He's
great
just
point about how as soon as they cross promoted, like the big stars or guys with relative names, the Spence, the Wilder, and to a smaller extent, literally and in theory too, Fulton, they got destroyed. It's like
4-23. No, I'm sorry, 4-22, brother.
If I'm outside looking in as an investor, right, who understands boxing, right, who understands it, and I'm like, okay, let's see the world talent level that you guys have when it's not a comfortable situation where it's in-house promoting. Let's see when they fight other guys from other promotion companies who are world level fighters, and then I see the result. I see the Wilder Fury result. Then I see what happened with Spence and Crawford, and then Fulton and Nui. I'm like, dude, you don't. Your world level talent is not that good. You know what I'm saying? They're not even competitive.
Well, Jimmy mentioned the red flags, the fact that for years Wilder Joshua didn't happen, and that's been documented. Whose fault that was, whose side that was on. Same thing with Spence Crawford. You had certain fighters that left the plantation and they told you what was going on, in the PBC and the bad, shady business deal or business practices that were occurring there. But I want to mention one too that I often bring up, and it goes a little bit overlooked, which is Danny Garcia. If you look at his career when Golden Boy was in charge of it, who did he fight? I'm gonna tell you. Look at this. They brought him up nice and well, fighting guys like Mike Arnautis in 2010. That was a nice little step up. By 2011, he fought Nate Campbell, Kendall Holt, Eric Morales, Amir Khan. Morales, he fought him twice, by the way, in 2012. So he had Amir Khan there in between, Zab Judah, and it culminated with him upsetting Lucas Matisse, who was the boogeyman at 140. And then what happens? They steal Golden Boy's roster right from under his nose, no pun intended, because he was in rehab for coke. And what happens? From 1 year to the next, he's fighting Mauricio Herrera, which he should have lost in Puerto Rico. Rod Salka, a not even a contender, I don't believe, at lightweight. And they brought him up in weight, by the way. Lamont Peterson, Paulie Malignaggi, Robert Guerrero, Samuel Vargas. And then finally, Keith Thurman, 4 years later, almost 4 years later. Guys, what were they thinking?
And remember what his father famously said? We're with Al Heyman now. Why would I fight somebody tough? Why would I take a tough fight when I can fight a Rob Salka? Remember, it blew up so bad. Like, there was people protesting, like, this is so ridiculous. This kid isn't ranked. You're dragging him up in weight to feast him. Remember how hard he knocked that kid out? Because the kid was like a career 130-pounder. Like, dragged him up 2 weight classes, I believe. Or only fought at 135 once. It's just, you look across the board. You look at the career trajectory of everyone. It just stagnated. There's a reason Wilder's a free agent. He has to bring in guys from who are brought along from other promotions. Remember, even these pay-per-views that are doing well now are only doing well because he had to go sign on other people's work. He had to take on Canelo, Crawford, Garcia. You know what I mean? It's not name one PBC against PBC fighter pay-per-view that did well. I'll wait. Can't come up with anything. None of them did well.
Yeah, what was the best one they had prior to 2023 because now this year was all about auditioning and padding their
Spence
CV.
Mickey Garcia.
Spence Mikey. Yeah, exactly. And that was what, 300,000 pay-per-view buys?
And that was because Mickey Garcia was brought along from Top Rank. And then there was the 2 Pacquiao bouts. Or 3, right? No, 2. Broner, Broner, Thurman, and Ugas. But again, he was old. But again,
Pacquiao,
that was after the end of his career.
Pacquiao, it was Pacquiao, Broner, and Pacquiao Thurman, right? Is that what you said?
Yes. Yep. Okay. And then Bargos. And those first two, I believe, I know they both did over 800,000 with Pacquiao. But again, that was Top Rank. He wasn't, because he wanted $30 million to re-sign with Top Rank, and Top Rank's at fucking 39. See you later. So he left. But again, it wasn't Heyman's guy. He had to consistently reach out and take other people's leftovers or guys who left other promotions after they were created to take on. That's what he did. And listen, the reason why Espinoza, he got too involved. Espinoza acted like he was a part of the PBC instead of a part of Showtime. He always seemed to have the PBC's interest at heart and not the shareholders of a publicly owned corporation.
You're talking about Espinoza the Weasel.
You little fucking weasel.
That guy, where's he going to go next? Is he going to land with some sort of position within the PBC, or what do you think happens to him?
Oh yeah, no. He's going to try to. Listen. His resume is going to hurt now because he they cut rid of all sports. He wasn't in charge of boxing. He was in charge of all sports, and I don't know how he's going to walk away looking like a good executive when they say, "Man, everything you did, you just threw good money after bad product over and over again." And when he talked, he used words like "we" when he talked about like the PBC.
Mm-hmm.
So he really did think he didn't have the interest in the Showtime. That's for sure.
Well, Butcher, remember a couple of months ago when we were talking about this on the air about how they I think it was Marcus Villegas had done an interview with Espinoza, because remember, this whole rumor started near the end of last year or beginning of this year, if I remember correctly, and they were asking him questions. He's like, "Oh yeah, the numbers are solid, the numbers are great," and you were saying, "What's great? What's solid? Why does he give any examples, any concrete examples of what great numbers are?" That was another major red flag. which in hindsight lets you know, they were just buying time and spewing
Liar.
BS.
Just making stuff out. You gotta give us evidence of how things are good. It's like who put that? Somebody posted that video of Janet Yellen from the Federal Reserve saying that the economy is strong and all of that shit. Well, you prove it. Give us stats and stuff like that.
hmm
Same thing with Espinosa. What are the numbers? Why are you saying it's great? No, he just says whatever, a bunch of lies, and people are supposed to believe him.
I wonder if they were paying YouTubers, by
and,
the way,
and remember, of course they were. And I'll even say a guy's name. I don't care, Mr. Moonshine. You can't tell me his 2023 PBC and Showtime's taking over boxing. I mean, remember that tweet? That went over well. But yeah, and there was a bunch of them. If not payment, but credentials, doing something for them.
Mhm.
That's what he did. And yeah, it's just, it is what it is. I mean, across the board, everything you would do, he did. That didn't help the network.
Well, that's the other
So,
thing, though, Jimmy.
we're at
We gotta
where
So
we're
now
at.
it's
clarify.
evident, Jimmy, that he was completely lying. Like you're
No.
saying, now it's evident. Like this guy was lying the whole time.
I need to make a question jump in my head. So if
Word
Showtime's out of
salad, man.
boxing, if Showtime's out of boxing at the end of 2023, where's Canelo going to fight at in 2024? Because he still has two fights with them. Is it
Yeah.
going to be on Showtime or is it going to be another platform?
They're gonna they're obligated.
Would
They're
that be the selling
sticking
point?
to all their obligations. Well, of course, but even if they go to Amazon, they're not going to give them any kind of budget. They'll say, okay, you can use our platform, but we're not financing dick. So Heyman's still going to have to go and find outside financial, finance for that. So, but yeah, he has one more. I mean, two more. Crawford only has one more. So I'm sure Showtime will try to get capitalizing on both those this year. But after that, I don't know where they're going to go. But here's another thing. What was key too. Under Heyman, like everything he does, the least transparent individual in sport, it was under his reign. Prior to him getting his hands on PBC, Showtime released their pay-per-view numbers from Showtime, so you knew they were 100%. Again, publicly traded company, they can't lie about sales numbers in any degree. It was under him that, nope, we're not going to do that anymore. We're just going to have, as Espinosa, speaking of Espinosa, he'll just snidely talk about shit on Twitter, but not actually commit to everything and then leak bogus numbers through like Gan Raphael and then go and embarrass him by slipping up on a podcast and admitting Tank Davis never sold over 200,000. He only sold one before Garcia. Only one of the five did over 500,000. That was against the fucking short bus dude. Everybody else was under 200,000, regardless of the 250, 275, all those numbers. They were lies. They were lying.
Well, let me say this. First of all, shout out to Chris K for his contribution to the super chat. He says 2 words, one reason: white supremacy. He says that's what Uncle Al is gonna say. Yeah, he's gonna blame. I'm telling you that they're gonna find they're gonna blame Whitey for this, the white devil. Shout out to Rafael Garza too for his contribution to the super chat. He says Heyman ran his share of boxing to the ground using the Saul Alinsky model. Al weakened boxing, but his goal was to destroy the masculinity of boxing. Whoa, he's getting into some more esoteric theories right there. That's interesting right there, man. Shout out to those guys for their contributions. Don't forget to hit that like. Really helps us out. Jimmy, you mentioned
Let's
the
hit
numbers.
the like. Let's get to 100 likes. Come on, guys.
Yeah, get us to 100
We're at 54.
likes. Otherwise, you know what? We're going the way of
54.
Showtime. If you don't, we're going the way of Showtime.
We're gonna shut it down.
Yeah, we're gonna shut it down.
Yeah, exactly.
But I wanted to say this, man, Jimmy. Because people used to say, "But they're making the big fights," especially this year. They're making the big fights. But like Bucho and I were saying, okay, but what are the results? For example, Spence versus Crawford. They try to claim, 600,000 pay-per-view buys, but then Rick Glacier, who's usually more often right than wrong, he said it was more like 500,000 pay-per-view buys. So, considering the amount of money that they were paid, do you think that was a financial success? On any metric, could they deem that as a good business enterprise? That bout?
Depends on how much they actually paid the fighters. You know what I mean? 600,000. If they paid them 15, 20 million each, or like 15 million each, I think I heard, they're barely breaking even. That's $30 million. And Showtime gets half or 40% of that right off the top. So they're not making a ton of money. Showtime at least would get their projected sales numbers. I'm sure they were projected more than that. They wanted more than that, I'm sure. I mean, it was the greatest welterweight fight in, generations. And it sold 600,000. Actually, like you said, Rick said it was 575. And to Rick's point, Rick also is the first one to publicly tweet out, someone who's considered in the industry, that Showtime will be out of boxing this year. He said that months ago. He heard from the same connection. He gets his pay-per-view numbers, and his numbers have been vindicated. How many times is this guy got to say things for it to play out, and then people say, "Oh, you get it from Rick Glacier," like it's not, valid.
Or people
how many
go,
times? It's ridiculous.
people tell him, people always say, oh, what have you done in boxing? What have you done? But you're not looking at what he's saying. Really analyze what he's saying. Stop with the emotional responses. What about you? Or, the whataboutisms. And not for nothing, but in this Ring Magazine article from Joseph Santocolito, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, I never did learn how to say it. At the end of this article where they're talking about Showtime's departure, he says, and he quotes an anonymous source, he said, a lot of people are scrambling right now. Everyone knew it was coming. I don't think they believed it until it actually happened. Well, it happened. Who knows where boxing goes from here? So numerous people in the inside heard the rumblings. I mean, this ain't the CIA. This ain't fucking the NSA. I mean, they can keep a secret. These people can't. It's boxing. And so, like Jimmy was saying, Jimmy was saying it too, because he was hearing it too from other people saying, "Hey, man, it's on." And he was looking at the evidence. Again, he wasn't being emotional. And this is where we got our directions from mainly. You could see it coming if you analyze it logically. But no, some people...
Oh, yeah, he was coming.
Nobody believes
just
it's
people in
coming until
denial.
the cops are actually knocking on your door and saying, "Hey, buddy, we're looking for you."
Wait a minute, what's that supposed to
Exactly.
mean? And you know what,
Hey,
listen.
I have a question.
Well, can I just say this real quick? I'm
Yeah.
glad that certain fights happened with the PBC this year. I'm a boxing consumer first.
Mhm.
And yeah, I don't like the fact that Benavides Plantis on pay-per-view and all that, but if you can separate, again, the emotion. I know we're criticizing the PBC. I know some people were emotionally invested. But right now we're looking at this from our limited business perspective and saying and analyzing why it didn't work. So if people can, some people I know they're listening. But what about Top Rank? What about
What about Top Rank? What about Top Rank? What about the Top Rank who has been in the business for I don't know how many fucking decades?
50 something,
right? I mean, they're not perfect, but they've been doing something good, something well. If they're still, operational and not splashed $500 million without any fucking positive results.
We as boxing fans want all these fucking fighters to fight each other. That's all we ever wanted anyway. We just want them to get in the ring and fight each other. The promotional outfit, nobody cares about that. Nobody cares who's on top. Listen, if Al Heyman would have put up really good fights and would have kept generating revenue and companies are doing better and networks, salute to him. That means that we as fans are getting what we want. But is this like taking joy in a person that failed in a venture? No, it's just like we knew that was eventually that's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying?
I was excited about the PBC back in 2015 because I was like, oh shit, network television. And then they had like Sugar Ray Leonard there and all these other former boxers. And I was like, this seems interesting. I wanted it to be successful. Why not? I don't care. Like I don't care if that guy's black or white or whatever. It's just
I cared a
we
little bit.
were gonna have fights on network television. Yeah, you care. I know video you care, but fights back on network television. It was a great opportunity to bring boxing to have a larger audience.
Mm-hmm.
And they fucked it up.
Like a fantasy.
It was too good to be true. But like Jimmy said, let's not forget, man, they had a belt. They really remember. Listen, because I think people are forgetting this too. When the first telecast was Broner versus John Molina, and I think it was a triple header, but I know the main event was Keith Thurman versus Robert Guerrero, and Keith Thurman's trainer at the time was Dan Birmingham, and he tried to, I think he was holding a WBC belt or something, and they actually ushered him away. So get the hell out of the frame of the camera. They didn't want that because that was a plan. And by the way, that didn't last too long. They dropped that whole thing of the PBC belt real quick, along with Sugar Ray Leonard and the Hans Zimmer theme. Where did that go? That was a good theme, by the way. But yeah, man, good.
They realized they screwed the pooch before they even started. When they didn't seal the deal and get Canelo, that's when they fucked up. Literally, if they would have got Canelo, Golden Boy would have been done. Okay, and then the
Oh, yeah.
pressure. Then it would have been just pretty much just Bob left standing at that time, because the other one on the other person that had some fighters at the time was Main Events, who hasn't done really anything since Kovalev. I don't even know if they're even active.
Yeah, that's a
But
good
so
question. What
that
happened?
was huge.
Yee, ski
I
you.
know.
I mean,
They
listen,
probably
it's
a shell company now.
yeah, he's in
Me
the
again.
Bahamas. He's in the Bahamas, man. Oh yeah, I gotta keep bringing this up. Never Sober's reminding me of this fucking Demetrius Andrade again. Listen? I gotta say two things too about that. The last or before last episode, at the end, I was looking at the footage of Benavides' plant. Benavides' plant, because I was analyzing the Benavides Andrade fight. And whoops, all of a sudden the algorithm caught it and it blocked the stream. We didn't get a hard strike, but it blocked the stream because we were using footage from Showtime. And I wasn't even watching the whole fight. I was watching 5-second clips. And I'm thinking, look, they need all the promotion that they can get, all the free promotion, by the way, for this goddamn fight. I know they didn't do it manually, I don't think. It's probably the algorithm, but get on it and let people use the footage, because again, it's an all clearance sale here. Everything must go. You need people to buy this fucking fight, and we're the hardcores.
No, that was
Even
reported.
Was that?
That wouldn't have been an algorithm. That's keywords like in a hate thing in speech, but like using somebody's content that has to be reported. Somebody reported you.
I don't know about that though. I don't know, but maybe you're right.
You were correct.
Maybe you're right, but the point is this. Even hardcore boxing fans, Jimmy, that I've talked to are saying that they're unsure about whether they're going to buy that fight. So if hardcore boxing fans are disinterested, you better let me hype this fight off for you fellas. I'm talking to the Showtime people, because it's going to bomb, just like Plant Benavides did. And the other thing is that, Benavides did himself, Andrade did himself no favors selling that fight with his weird-ass behavior.
Ski you.
What the hell, man?
Ucamu
It was weird, man.
Suck cock.
I mean, I might as well said that, man, to try to sell this fight. But the other question I wanted to ask was, so where does PBC go from here? Amazon? I mean, Andrew Berto, who's a good company man, recently tweeted, Al Heyman's a bad man. And he meant that in the good sense, in the positive way. So what do you think happens here? Does he go to Amazon? Are they going to the Zone?
I think going to Amazon would be the worst thing they could do.
Why is that?
I mean, first of all, like, I don't know if you noticed, like, a lot of these sporting events, like baseball, football, I think maybe even basketball. So you got to be an Amazon Prime member. You got to be a Prime member to watch these games. You really think PBC can get people to become Prime members to watch their fights? If they're going to depend on views, on how many subscriptions they have, that shit would do terrible. So I don't even think they'll get involved in that. Amazon, correct me if I'm wrong to anybody here on the panel, but Amazon doesn't have like a free channel that you can watch sporting events that I'm aware of.
No, you need to pay for Amazon Prime service, and then you get access to that. All the movies and shows. Yeah.
If Amazon had like a free channel, let's say on cable, that it came part of a package deal with your cable network. So basically, Amazon's doing business with the cable network, right? And you don't have to like buy a separate subscription for Amazon. Then I could see maybe that working. But if it's going to depend on your views are going to depend on subscriptions for Amazon Prime, I can't see that doing good numbers.
But
I can't see
like
really
Jimmy
any
said,
boxing
though,
company doing that good.
But like Jimmy said, let's say they bring you the PBC, and like they had that. Look, their biggest selling point is the roster. We got this amount of fighters, this type of fights we can make. They're gonna show the first thing the Amazon people are gonna look at are the ratings that they've done on Showtime and the pay-per-view buys. Okay, the pay-per-view buys, they can sell the Garcia.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, if they don't go in there and do any research, they just look at the roster and say, "Oh my God, that's a big roster." I can see Amazon Prime committing to that, but I'm gonna take a guess that a multi-billion-dollar company, right? We're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars. they're gonna have a research team before they make an investment like that. And they're gonna be like, you guys barely did good on pretty much like free, no subscription TV. You know, just cable company. You guys barely did any good, and now we're gonna depend on subs. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Keep going, man. I don't think I
Hello?
didn't hear anybody.
Oh, sorry. I apologize, man. I'm hearing things. Maybe I'm drunk already. I don't know. But now you're gonna depend on subscribers for your views? Oh hell no! You guys are not gonna do
No,
anything.
I don't think that's gonna.
Yeah, so
Well,
I can't
how
see
do they
that.
know? Does if like Amazon, they would look at the numbers. You like you said, they would look at Showtime and how what the numbers were, the viewership numbers were. Uh,
Yeah,
are those numbers different from the ones that Spinoza was claiming? Or actually, he never even came out
of
with numbers,
course,
right? It
absolutely,
was
100%. Like they'll find that out. They'll find that the real numbers, right? Because you could do that many ways. Let's say they don't want to disclose that. Well, you can see what they paid out on like their taxes and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You could figure that out. You could do research on other
right. So the numbers are shit at the end of the day. You know, they're
yeah,
not.
you could skew the
They're not.
numbers if you want.
They don't have a
They're
big
gonna find
roster,
out
but they have shit numbers.
they did shit numbers, right? The bottom line, they're gonna say you guys did terrible numbers. And we're not gonna fucking commit to you where, you know, the product that you're gonna display depends on the number of subscription that you guys could sell. It's not gonna work out. It's not gonna work out. They know that.
Right. And by the way, guys, hit the like button. We're at 75. Let's get to 100. You can do it. We only need 25 more. Come on, guys.
Yeah,
And
Oh man.
or else we'll shut down the whole operation here. By the way, in the chat, I am your leader says Amazon is not going to work with the PBC. Move on. I heard that. BDA? Did you mention that Amazon is actually cutting back on programming and costs overall?
Apparently, yeah, and like Reckoners was saying is, you have to have that in order. You already have to have Amazon Prime to be able to watch it, and I don't know how many boxing fans are gonna be able to say, hey, I'm gonna get Amazon Prime to watch the box, or maybe they would. I don't know, but then again, the problem becomes Amazon's gonna look at that and they're gonna go, "The fuck have you been doing these past 5-7 years?" I mean, I don't know if. But then again, like I said, Al Heyman, do not underestimate the guy because he did manage to stay stuck to Showtime and he managed to bamboozle a bunch of fighters because he had Mayweather. So I don't know. Never count him out. The guy's a zombie. Just when you think he's dead, he comes back.
Now, how many people have Amazon Prime? Though a lot of people have Amazon.
Yeah.
Like
I
they
think
pay
it's,
for the Amazon service. So
I think it's the most popular streaming.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, listen, but it's just what the question would be whether or not they can get people to become subscribers to their boxing program.
right, just because of
That,
that,
that
like, oh, I'm gonna. What's their selling point? We have some boxing fights, guys.
Exactly.
yeah, we got
Okay.
some guys that
People
we
who
don't
have
we
like,
don't put to fight
yeah.
other stars unless they just finally can't take it anymore and they give in to my demands. And like, yeah, that's not a commitment I'm willing to. I mean, it's good for you, brother, but it's not good for me.
Yeah, okay, so what we're going to be doing is, look,
Yeah.
we're talking about, for people that are just tuning in, we're talking about the downfall of Showtime boxing. People saw it coming. It's not a surprise to anybody, or most people. The other thing is, we're going to talk about later on, we're going to be taking focus near the end of the hour. Also, we're going to be talking about the press conference between Prograis and Haney. And I want to get to a fight that's intriguing to me, Benavides Andrade. Some of the things other commentators have been saying about this fight. And again, we're gonna get into that, but it's the worm is turning. Let's just put it that way on the outlook for that fight. All of a sudden now, some people are jumping on the Andrade bandwagon, but we're gonna get to that. So don't forget to hit the like, really helps us out. By the way, amidst all this news of Showtime boxing ending, some fighters have been chiming in their opinion about what's wrong with boxing or what needs to happen for boxing to stay alive. Teofimo Lopez said, there is no one else to blame for the news of Showtime and HBO than the promoters, managers, and specific fighters. Too much greed ends all desires of a wealthy lifestyle, which is true. But I'm just thinking, isn't Teofimo Lopez the guy that tried to go on Triller and wasted a whole year and then ended up losing all his titles because of that? Maybe that's
Maybe
why
he's learning. Maybe he's
That's
learning
what I'm
from his,
saying. Yeah. There's a saying in Mexico.
maybe
Fuck,
he's
I
starting to
forget what it
realize
was.
from his mistakes.
Yeah, there's a saying in Mexico that the best way to learn is from your mistakes. So shout out to Teofimo Lopez, who seems to understand that, and he certainly rebounded this year. But I think hopefully more fighters start learning that. Hey, yeah. By the way,
He exposed
Joe
Josh Taylor.
Yeah, shout out to Joe Biscuit for his contribution to Super Chat. He says, why does everyone think Amazon would take a dead platform? One FC would consume the PBC without Canelo. If Amazon does take them, Tank will be forced into a Muay Thai match against Haggerty where he gets KO'd with a head kick. I don't know who these people are, man, but I'd pay for that. Why not, man?
Yeah.
Shout out to Joe
Can you
Biscuit.
imagine them in a fight that everything goes, like an MMA? And he has to fight a Muay Thai boxer. I mean, that's exactly what would happen. Tank would get his head kicked off.
By the way, Tank Davis is the guy that recently came out and said that because I think they're ordering him to stay in Baltimore. The court is, by the way, and he tweeted something like, "Man, this judge is crazy. People want me dead in Baltimore. Why do they want me to stay here?" I'm thinking, well, wait. Why do people want you dead?
What is it? Wait. So people
want him dead
in Baltimore. What are you doing? What are you doing out there getting in trouble? Okay.
He's bullshit. Remember in that Rolly Romero at the Rolly Romero press conference, Rolly Romero was like, "Man, you ain't no gangster." Remember they told that to because Tank Davis was like, "If we were in the streets," and then like Rolly Romero is like, "Man, shut the fuck up, you ain't no gangster."
Yeah. You played him.
Yeah, I don't know. Tank pretends to be a gangster or something.
But okay, my point is this: he'll say stupid shit like that. You see, like that's part of the PBC product. They want the judge orders me to stay in Baltimore. Well, the judge is going to order you to stay where you're standing trial, dumbass. Like that's nobody's personally picking on you. That's the way it goes. And second of all, if people want to kill you, what are you doing out there? Getting in trouble. What are you doing out there? I know if there was a particular town or city where I know people are actively trying to kill me, that's not the place I'm going to be going to, let alone getting in fucking trouble,
Yeah, man, I mean,
going out at night, you're going to find trouble, man.
Of course. According to him, Bucho, there's people actively trying to kill him. Why would you even be?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Jesus. Yeah, no, that's even more of a reason to go out and hang out with the wrong people at night. I mean,
I'm surprised the guy who runs over pregnant women and then flees the scene. I'm surprised he's got poor impulse control and he gets himself into this type of situations. I gotta tell you, I'm color me surprised, man.
I have a question. Well, I don't know, Jimmy, you still there? I want to ask Jimmy a question. Jimmy. And Jimmy left to the bathroom.
What's up, bro?
I was going to ask, are these...
No, I'm here, brother. I'm sorry.
Jimmy, are these PBC... Are PBC fighters... should they be concerned about what's happening?
Well, no more concerned than I'm sure they already were. Maybe they should be more happy, right? Because they were all... I mean, lucky if they get one bite at the apple once a year. So if they went to the zone... Here's the problem. Are they going to still just keep putting everything on pay-per-view? Because then it'll be just ridiculous. So then now you'll be paying $229 a year plus, because they'll do something where they'll make it financially like ridiculous. If you order just a pay-per-view and you're not a subscriber, they'll charge like $40 more or something. But who's to say? It might work out in their benefit. We'll see.
Hey, by the way, shout out to. Go ahead.
Just real quick, I even got Terrence Crawford saying, well, Ryan Garcia is right here. He quote tweeted Ryan Garcia about a half an hour ago saying, because the fighters are concerned. You can see it just in the tenor in their tweets. It's just like, they're like, geez, what's going on? Maybe they're taking a little reflection and saying, what are we doing, guys? We're driving this shit into the fucking toilet. Everybody's going to take some reckoning about this, That's
It's like in Full Metal Jacket. Remember when he says it's a huge shit sandwich and we're all going to have to take a bite. Maybe that's the type of situation they're in. But I'll say this, man. Shout out to Carlos Roque for for rejoining the membership program. Rather, shout out to him. He says PBC going to Telemundo under the leadership of Alberto Jamon. Alberto Jamon. Yeah, that's that's the Al Heyman Spanish name right there, man. There you go. But yeah, man. I mean, look, I don't know what else to say about this. I mean, yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's a shame just based off because it's a bad look for boxing. At the end of the day, if they can somehow continue to making the best fights possible with this new move or this departure and maybe that roster goes to the zone, fuck, man. I don't give a shit if it's Showtime, ESPN. As long as these fights are accessible and they can get made easier and you know, the less obstacles than we've had in the last 5-7 years, I'm all for it. Why not?
I think boxing should be on a sports network. You know,
Yes, that's the
why?
best. That's the best
What
place
could be?
to put it at.
Yeah,
ESPN.
because why would you
something like
Showtime?
that.
This didn't make sense. Showtime and HBO, that didn't make any sense to begin with.
Well, I mean, it worked out for a long time, especially HBO. You know, Showtime did good too. It's just that
Yeah, but
recent.
that was
You
at
know?
a time that boxing was big, and then it was moved to premium cable, whatever. And but after that, people have been denied their access to boxing. They were denied access because not everybody was watching HBO, you know, boxing there. Like you should have stayed on either network television or a sports channel, and it didn't happen for a decade or plus, you know. So I think boxing lost a lot of fans because of that, or
I
didn't gain
agree.
any new fans. I would say didn't gain new fans
They didn't
because
get any,
a lot
they
of
didn't
us
get
we were
any new
watching boxing
fans.
from before.
Yeah, they didn't get any new fans, like you said, Bucho.
Yeah, I think that's what
And I think
happened. So they
boxing,
need to go to
I think boxing always, I think boxing always goes through that outside of like a transcending star, you know, like Tyson, people like that, you
Mhm.
know, Ali.
And because boxing has a
Many,
history, that's why
yeah.
it survives. But it can't survive on history alone for a long time. Maybe we can get away with it for 20 years, but another 20 years, and who knows where boxing is going to be, you know? I think we need like we need to make boxing accessible again.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
it needs
absolutely.
to move away from all these fucking channels. From all
Yeah,
these.
we
Go ahead.
reliable programming, reliable broadcasting, more importantly, consistent broadcasting. These people fighting over TV dates. And then you got guys like Janibek, they only fight twice a year. It's like, man, boxing needs to step it up, man. And may I also remind people that the best way to revitalize the sport and make it more entertaining is by enforcing the rules. Get rid of this whole, well, you know, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, the sweet science. Fuck that. Less clinching, less early stoppages,
Right.
the best matchmaking possible. Boom, you're gonna see a big boost in viewership. Well, maybe not a big boost, but I mean, you're gonna get a better quality product, and then from then on, you might start seeing more results. But get these referees in line, man. A lot of these guys are
Even
also in the
Eddie Hearn's
same.
priorities are wrong. Even Eddie Hearn's priorities. But like you were saying, BDA, Devin Haney, he's being promoted. Like I was watching the, I know we're gonna get to that, but like the Devin Haney versus Prograis press conference, and
Mhm.
even in the poster it says Haney versus Prograis when Prograis is the champion. He's the one that's gonna be defending his title. And
Right.
then when Eddie Hearn was gonna introduce the both camps, so they could speak during the conference, that he wants. Who was it? Haney? No, the Progress camp to start first,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
that's
yeah.
when Progress coach, his trainer is like, he's like, no, we are the champions. The word should go first to the contender, to the challenger.
You know why that is,
You know,
Bucho?
and they got all mad, but
It's because they have this
what?
antiquated notion that somehow they're gonna have another Mayweather on their hands with Haney, which has been proven false. I mean, look, whether
Yes,
even for the people that believe that, oh, you know, the Haney Loma fight could have gone either way, I don't see it as a robbery. You still have to be a little concerned that he has a big weight advantage. He's faster, he's younger, bigger. and he couldn't beat a fucking midget because that's what people were saying. Lomachenko's a midget. He's overhyped. So that's that whole Mayweather thing. That's out the window. Number two, like what Repets likes to say, Heyman has never avoided signing a shirtless black man. I mean, that's he just a shirtless black guy with a little definition. Boom, he signs him up. It's like he can't get enough of them. So I think that's what's going on with Haney here.
Well, he's undefeated, but yeah, especially if he's undefeated.
That's what I'm saying.
Young.
Yeah, it's
all of a sudden, he has the makings to become a star. All the makings to become a star.
That's what they think. Yeah, that's what they think. So, I mean, you're absolutely right about that. By the way, I'm opening up the phone lines here. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Really helps us out. If this stream lags too much, because I see we were having some difficulties earlier, just hit the refresh button and you'll be all right. Yeah, let's get the phone lines are open, I believe. Hold on a second. Let me double check here. Yes, the phone lines are open. So make sure to call in and give us your thoughts on the whole drama that's occurring here in boxing. Also, we're going to get into the fight here. Okay, so for those of you that are unaware, Prograis and Haney are going to be fighting in early December. Now, I don't know if you guys on the panel, how many of you caught the press conference, but to make a long story short, Prograis was with his strength and conditioning coach. And Eddie Hearn said, yeah, you got, let's give the... He told them to go first to the Prograis team. And then the Prograis strength and conditioning coach said, no, they're the challengers. They should go first. And then they got into a joint match that never ended, never subdued. And the other thing is the strength and conditioning coach was going at Haney saying, who you fought? Who are you fought? And then Haney said, who the fuck are you, N-word? He said it the soft N-word, by the way, IGGA. And then the strength and conditioning coach pulled rank on him, said, man, you're a prep school N-word. What do you know about the street? Stop trying to act tough. And that really seemed to have set Haney off. And Haney kept saying, who are you? Who are you? We don't know who you are. That's the card he was pulling. What the fuck was that?
Sorry, I don't know why it sounded so loud. I said, yeah, and then it was a delay, and it sounded like, super loud. But yeah, what's the deal with that? What's the deal with that? Like, you're not from the streets. Like, it's something that's bad apparently here.
Because listen, I saw that little exchange because the way Devin Haney is acting. It's like he's not a guy from the streets. Like, dude, you wouldn't talk like that to somebody in the streets. If you did, something bad's gonna eventually happen to you. He is a prep school kid. You know my stance on Haney. That's a shit fighter, bro. I know, yes, he's talented. I get it. He's shit, bro.
Did you see? Did you see how Rodriguez was crowding his space and he had him like shrinking back a little bit when he was getting. He was like, "You ain't really like that, bro." He started stepping up to him, and Haney kind of started like rolling back a little bit and shit. And he was like, "Yeah, bro." He really pressed his ass on stage. It was pretty funny.
If Regis and him were in a where nobody cared about them, they had to fight for themselves. Regis will kill that boy. He'll make him tap out. There's no doubt. But it's going to be a boxing match, and it's going to be. Look, Haney's going to run. He's going to run, hold, tap. He's going to win the fight like that, more than likely. Unless Prograis catches him with a shot that he don't see coming and he can't recover from. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know about the running.
Like, I'm not big on Haney.
Yeah, let me just say,
he's going to avoid conflict. He's just going to avoid conflict. That's what he's going to do. He's going to avoid what we love about boxing, punching.
I don't know about the running though. I don't know if he's going to run because that's the thing. He said,
I might be confusing him, man. I might be.
But clinching probably right a lot of clinching probably, but because Prograis was saying,
yes.
Yeah, because Prograis was saying, the reason why I looked bad against Zorrilla is because I didn't expect him to run. If you watch that fight, Zorrilla wasn't running really. He was sticking his ass out, which looked weird, but he wasn't throwing that many shots, but he wasn't running. So I'm thinking if Zorrilla could do that, I'll say this: Prograis better step it up, man, because he was getting outboxed against Zorrilla. I had Zorrilla winning that fight. And Gonzalo, you've been silent for a while here. I know you're a boxing purist. You don't give a shit about the PBC thing, but Prograis, Haney, you believe Prograis is gonna step it up and beat him, or remind me again your stance?
No, I'm not sure about that one. I mean, Haney's a better boxer. Prograis is a power puncher, and he's a late starter, and we've seen some of his limitations. he shined against another elite starter in Cepeda, but against Haney, he really needs to step it up. I mean, he needs to press. He can't be like Cambosos either, like where he is basically just jumping in with one shot at a time. He got to
Mhm.
press and double press. Stick to him. Is that because what that dude's gonna do? He's gonna try to exchange with you, and he's gonna step in, and Progress also gonna step in, and they're gonna exchange. But when one guy commits, for example, Prograde, this dude's gonna step back 2 times. Now you're gonna be left out of your distance. And if Haney can keep controlling the distance while leaving this dude out of the play, basically, one step behind, 1 or 2 steps behind the action, he's gonna be lost.
Never saw us. We can hear you in the background there, man.
Oops. I could have sworn I had myself on mute, bro.
Yeah, I heard you say. I don't know what's going on your end, but I heard
Yeah,
you
it's one
say.
of those things. It's one of those things. He might get outboxed because he's not going to be able to keep up with Haney. One thing that Haney does do, they come up with a great strategy in the corner because for some reason these dudes they got a chip on their shoulder. They really take this shit seriously because they want respect. And when people don't give them the respect, they fucking they get obsessive, and that could kind of be a good thing, right? Because it pushes you to try your hardest. And that's the thing about he might not be a gangster, but he got that chip on his shoulder. He's a snide little motherfucker.
I mean,
Go on there and beat the shit out of Prograde. I think he'll make a lot of fans. He'll even make people who don't like him say, "Oh, wait a second, bro. This kid he's got a little something. I might want to watch his fights from now on." But so far, he hasn't shown that. And his best win was his last fight against Lomachenko, a fight that most people thought he lost.
I mean, look, I'm gonna illustrate this with video pretty soon. But if you compare Prograde with Lomachenko, the advantages that Prograde has over Lomachenko are power and size. That's it. He's not. If you look at how Lomachenko fights, he's a different fighter than Prograde. He's actually better. He's got a better jab, which Prograde doesn't really have unless he's fighting a southpaw. He pressures better. He cuts the ring off better. He has a better guard. I mean, if Prograde is gonna walk Haney down, it will have to be somehow he disrespects Haney's power and says, I'm just gonna walk you down. He couldn't do it against Zorrilla though. So how's he gonna do it against Haney? And let's not forget, there's a 10-year difference here too. 10-year difference. Progress 34, soon to be 35. Haney, I believe, is 24. So that could pay dividends too if it becomes a boxing match, like the Zorrilla fight became. By the way, shout out to Mars for his contribution to the super chat. He says, boxing will have a hard reset when Canelo retires. He is the last network TV fighter developed under HBO/Showtime. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a worrisome prospect right there, Mars. Shout out to you, man. But in regards to that program, yeah, and that's the other thing, though. Haney, he was saying a lot of the Zoomer things, the Zoomer speak, as I like to say, that where he's not really saying much. He's just, I'm a different breed. I'm a different animal. He's like, okay, what does that mean, man? He's
this
like,
shit ain't nothing to me, man.
yeah, it's like that. Like, that shit ain't nothing to me, man.
I'm moving different. I'm a dog.
That type of shit. Absolutely. And I mean, but I did like the press conference, I must say. It was genuine trash talking from the get-go. No, forced trash talk. Yeah, hey, what happened in that sparring session we had? No, you could tell that strength and conditioning coach got under Haney's skin. As for Bill Haney, he did his share of talking too. And somebody left a comment in a video once where they described Bill Haney as having that convict mentality. Let's not forget that Bill Haney was a drug dealer. He sold drugs to kids. So that's why he's the type of guy that he'll make up narratives to ensnare people and get them to believe his version of the story. And some people don't even question it. And I posit that it's because if you read about propaganda works best with the people that already agree with your talking points, who are emotionally invested. So when they came out with the whole thing of Lomachenko avoided us, 5 years ago, blah, 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 that's what people wanted to believe. And that's why they believed it. So Bill Haney, say what you want about him, but he really knows how to get some tarts, and he wraps them around his fingers. So he's a good talker, and he certainly livened the press conference up. But yeah, let's get some early predictions here, if we could. Preliminary. predictions about the Prograis Haney fight. How do you guys see it going?
I mean, they both got something to worry about. That's what kind of keeps it like exciting too, and they can't sleep on each other because Haney is the better boxer. He started when he was younger, so obviously that gives Prograis a lot to deal with. But also Haney moving up in division, showing to be vulnerable in the past. When I don't think it's like that so much. I think he doesn't actually have like the bad chin. Well, at least that I used to think. I kind of like recant on that because he's getting bigger. He's rehydrating more, so he's a little bit more durable, in my opinion. But yeah, he's also have something to worry about because of Prograis' punching power and the fact that he's a southpaw. And we know that he was getting tagged up by Lomachenko late in the fight, and he's had his moments against Linares and other fighters. To where, in the end of the day, I don't know what size the ring's gonna be, like 18 or 22 or 24 feet. But there's a point in time where you're just going to have to sit there and like trade. Like you said, BDA, you can't be running all the time. And I don't think that he's going to be doing that, although he's probably is going to be clinching. So it's kind of like 50-50. But you know what they say generally, like the boxer has the advantage over the power puncher. And especially if the boxer have experience and he's like started when he was younger. I know that's kind of cliche, but right now, that's the way I see it because we've seen Prograis' limitations before.
Excellent point right there. The other thing is, Gonzalo, Prograis doesn't throw combos. Lomachenko was setting him up, make him react, and then he would throw combos. So even if the first two punches wouldn't land, the third one would. Prograis doesn't do that. He's a 1-2 fighter. So he's going to have to step up that activity there. Hold on. Let's go to the phone lines real quick here. The phone lines are open, and we got Kevin, K-Dog, in the house. Kevin, are you there? Can you hear me?
Hey, dog.
Go ahead,
Sure
K-Dog.
am.
What's up, man?
What can I say? I'll let you know what the problem with the boxing is. No consistency, no structure. All it's doing, it's chasing its next big high. That's what they're doing. They just chase their next big fix, and that's why you hear Espinosa bragging about, look at this big gate we have, and we have this record gate. Yo, how often does that happen? How often are those gates? Not enough. Not consistent enough. You need consistent products all year round. Once every couple weeks, you need a big pay-per-view instead of get it twice, maybe 3 times a year. And that's the problem right there in itself. They're chasing a big fix, chasing a big high, and it came back to bite them in the ass. The weasel, Espinosa.
You little weasel!
What can I say? You got it, Connor. You got it. I mean, that seems to be the problem with boxing in the whole, is it's not consistent enough. They just all chase that big fight, and then they cash out and they say, "Oh, we're good for the next 6 months. We made it. We did it." That money runs dry quick. That money runs dry quick.
Are you
familiar? And not just that; it's the business model in itself.
Are you talking from experience about the high, chasing the high, or?
Oh no, hell no! You got to keep it coming in if you're going to spend it. So I know all about that. You got to keep the money flowing.
There you go.
But yeah, Eddie Hearn is on. We'll see what they do. What the plan is in their attack, because he seems like he grinds hard. He works hard. He's constantly putting out these interviews, constantly working, traveling all over the world. So they need to do what he's doing. Work hard. These other dudes, they're not working hard enough. They're not grinding hard enough.
There you go.
They're messing up the whole fucking shebang, because now you got HBO going, you got Showtime going, the staples of boxing, pillars of boxing, and now what are you gonna do? You gotta go cling on to some other network, and hopefully they don't go under, because it's all a bunch of scam artists chasing a check.
That's right.
You never
they need a sugar
bitch.
daddy.
You always chase the check.
PBC needs a new sugar daddy to take care of them. There you go. All right, well, listen, K-Dog, man, good to hear from you.
That's it.
All right, man, good to hear from you, and catch you on
All
the
right,
next one,
Pan.
man.
Y'all boys be good.
You too, man. Take it easy out there.
Absolutely.
All right, that was K-Dog right there giving some sensible points about this. Yeah, boxing needs to step it up collectively. That's what De La Hoya was saying that on Twitter. He was trying to do a kumbaya type thing where this is the chance for promoters to work together, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, cross your fingers, keep them crossed, hope that happens. But this is boxing, man. Things usually don't go the way the people plan them to.
When I saw the Joe Rogan interview with Bernard Hopkins, he was animated, BDA, and I was like, man, these people probably knew already. Him and De La Hoya, they're kind of glad that they survived. That they went down under, but they're still here, even though they weren't like really putting the highest of the championship fights for whatever reason. Only like the local little shows, and Canelo left. Ryan was still there and everything. But now this might be an opportunity for them actually to like do better business.
Absolutely.
Golden Boy in the future.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we got to get into this too, by the way. Partially, one of the reasons why boxing has been suffering, not the main one. I mean, we don't really care about them, but every once in a while, we got to go back to give you an idea of that there's only one demographic out there that is tribal based and racist. And this is shout out to D Styles. He was on Twitter, and I saw this on Twitter. This is from that Drew Titan guy. Just to remind people, the Drew Titan guy is a big Deontay Wilder fan. He was a big Deontay Wilder dick rider, and he was the one that said that he hoped that Sugar Hill died in a car fire, because at that time, and I probably still believe that Fury and Sugar Hill somehow cheated with the gloves against Wilder. So this is what he had to say about Tim Tszyu, who recently scored a sensational win over Brian Mendoza this past Saturday. So let's listen into this. Hold on a second. Give me 2 seconds. I gotta prop this up here. There we go.
Tim Tszyu is on track to become the face of boxing. Well, Drew, why do you say that? Well, let me explain. He's a foreign white man. There, we can end the show.
First of all, I don't understand. I don't understand why that guy looks like he stinks. Something about it, I don't know why. That's always I have a good instinct on that. When I look at somebody through the screen, I say he looks like he stinks, like a bad BO, and then I meet him in person and I say, yeah, he fucking stinks. But number two, if people couldn't hear it, I don't know if you guys heard it, but he was talking about how Tim Tszyu was on his way to becoming the next big star, and why? Because he's a foreign white guy. And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. Lomachenko, they had a talent on their roster with Top Rank ESPN, and they tried pushing him, and the American public wasn't receptive to him. Same thing with Vladimir and Vitaly Klitschko. The HBO got rid of their asses because they were boring. So this myth that if you get a white talent, they're gonna become a star because it's a racist country and it's a racist mass media. They're gonna push them up. What do you think about that, fellas?
Well, he's Australian, right? But his dad is Russian, right? So he's half Asian as well.
Right.
It's just weird. So he's really, really Russian, to be honest.
Yeah, it's white to him. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, no, he'd be considered white if he was like he'd check off white if he lived in the United States. It is what it is, but regardless, I mean, the thing is, the rate exactly. Who gives a shit? We pick fucking polka dots. Here's the thing: they never back it up with analytics. They never back up. Like they just put out statements, and the statement in itself is the matter of fact. Oh, just a white. Okay, explain, Drew. Why end the channel? Explain why that is. Explain the demographics. Explain on the analytics why that is. They never can put up an actual example of racism. And whereas, like, one of the panels on here right now, Never Soba, was on a show recently, and he sent me a link, so I went and checked out that show. Shocking. That's all I got to say. Like, literally shocking. First off, they called him Gazoo. The guy who has 10,000 people on his YouTube channel had no idea who he was. This was the night before Triple G. I went back and watched night before Canelo versus Charlo, and his guy on there with him, the other Israelite, black Israelite, said, you don't know who this Gazoo is? Nah, man, I don't know who that shit is. And so some white guy called up and just made a comment. Wasn't racial in no means, way, shape, or form. And they went on a 5-minute tirade about cave-dwelling Neanderthals, stolen land, you're thieves, you're scum. Everybody in the world knows you're scum. You're a monkey, Nigga. If we shave you shave a monkey down, you know they're pink and got no lips. And they went on and on and on. Like, I couldn't believe it. I like not even remotely trying to hide it. And I'm saying to myself, I hate that. Well, if that was the other way around, because it's so played out and stupid, but it's true. It's true. If that, the brazenness in their racism, right? And then, of course, they use their ethnicity as both a cudgel and a shield. They think it shields them from criticism, and then they'll use it to bash you over the head with it, the slightest criticism or something that they can't back up, and you blow up their bullshit fucking fairy tales with facts. Oh, you're just saying it because you're racist.
But
Because that
remember,
gives them
Jimmy,
at least
Oh,
in their
they
head
remind
some
me.
morals to,
They remind me of a
virtual.
certain. They remind me of a certain God's chosen people group.
oh, wait a minute.
No, they are.
We're not
They
gonna get into
actually
that.
call themselves. No, he refers to himself as an Israelite. He said,
I
"My
know,
Israelite
but
brother."
I knew where Reckoners was going. We're gonna put a stop to that because we're gonna get shut down. But
Okay. Oh, all right.
but I'll
Come
say
on,
this.
you
I'll
know
say
what I
this.
was
I'll
going
say
with
this.
that.
The
You already know what I
reason
was-
why, again, I reiterate, the reason why this dude, Drew Titan, is saying that without offering any proof, Jimmy, is because he knows that's what his people, his viewers want to hear. Emotionally, that's how they already see the world. They already see the world through that lens. So he's just telling them that, and he doesn't need to offer any proof. They just believe it, and it makes them feel good. It's like, it validates their point of view. So that's what it is. That's why a lot of these
It's exactly what it is.
that's why a lot of these shows get a lot of super chats because it makes them feel good. It's a dopamine hit. Every time somebody validates their racist worldview, it's like, oh yeah, that's right. That's right. You know, it's like, hey, white devils.
That's right, motherfucker. I keep 3, motherfucker. What?
Hey, by the way,
And you
never
can
sober.
say, yeah, that's what it's.
That's a good analogy, though. The one that recognizes you is really because it's better for business that Showtime probably going to the zone, but then still it gives people a reason to argue. Like they got no country, right? Like the Israeli and the Palestinians,
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
right?
We're gonna.
They're living in the same space, but they're still fucking arguing because they cannot define who's who.
I know, but I live next to a hospital, and I don't want it to get blown up alongside with me. Let's just put it that way. But okay, I went to As Never Sober something. We got a phone call here. They
Take
hung up.
it easy, BDA. Take it easy. Take it
I'm
easy.
just telling you. I fear for my life. But Never Sober. You were the one that went on that show. It's called Spectrum something. Anyway, if you want to plug it later, but
The boxing outlet.
yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah, maybe I'm confusing them. But
Boxing
yeah,
outlet.
you went there, and what did you say, or what did you do?
Yeah, I'll go
If
talk to them again. They were talking about how that guy's been on a like he's been on it for a couple of weeks now. How Crawford's a cheater and he cheated against Spence and everything. And I just went on there and I asked him like, you guys don't have any suspicion that, what's Spence could be a cheater himself. I believe that Crawford did have funny gloves, but I was like, y'all guys don't think Spence had funny nipples? And they told me, yeah, man, he's had them since he was a kid, man. I went back and did the research. He's always had titties. He's always needed a bra, okay? So there's nothing wrong with that. Like he started roasting him too. But he was like trying to get me laugh to get off the subject. I'm like, nah, bro. Teenagers take steroids too, bro. That shit's weird.
Nigga, what?
Why you been in a weight class for 10 years, 14 years? And
Yeah,
he just
that's,
wasn't buying it, bro.
he wasn't.
And the only proof is he's with Snack because Crawford's with Snack, right? Victor Conte. Just for that, that's the only evidence. The kind of evidence, right? Like if he were to try to bring a lawsuit or some kind of civil suit, the judge would laugh so hard they'd probably hold you in contempt at the court, phase because it's such buffoonery. Well, because he's with the guy who was convicted fucking 20 years ago for fucking with steroids, who, by the way, is still on federal mandate. Like if he gets caught fucking with those again, he's done. They'll bury him. He's not going to risk it. But again, you need more proof than you're with the guy who once involved in steroids. Like first off, he's the only guy who knows about steroids. I mean, everybody knows about steroids. It's not hard to find people who know about it. But for that's that in the gloves, because of the shape of the gloves. Yeah, they're crinkly. They're all like wrinkled up, just like the way Fury's were. And again, because of the same horsehair gloves that come crinkled up in the packet from the vacuum seal. So it's just, like you said, they say words that strikes to the heart of people who want to hear those words. Whether it's
Listen,
bashing white
Jimmy,
people with the
I
most
don't put it.
ridiculous ad hominem attacks or making up fairy tales about fighters they don't dislike. But anyways, recognize what's that?
Jimmy, I don't put it past these fighters that they're accusing of, like let's say, PD. I would not be shocked. I'm not going to say I would. I would say that he is on it, but I wouldn't be shocked if Crawford was on performance enhancing drugs. Right? Maybe some of them are even illegal. But here's my thing. What do you think? What do you think Spence is doing? You dumbass. You think that he's not taking? You think that this is some type of unfair fight outside of their skill set? Okay, it turned out to be an unfair fight. Like, from what I can tell with my eyes, when it came down to skills, yeah, there was one guy who was clearly better than the other one. But you're not going to tell me that one guy was on steroids and the other one wasn't. This guy was weight drained, but the other guy wasn't. I mean, I saw Crawford at that weigh-in. He looked like shit too. He just didn't. Maybe he looked a little bit better than Spence. I can't really tell, to be honest with you. Okay, because they both look kind of bad at that way. I'm talking about when they did the weigh-in, the official weigh-in. To me, they both look bad. The only difference that stood out to me in the fight, in terms of like their size and everything, because everything was equal. The only thing that turned out to be different is that Spence was exposed. He's not as good as Terrence Crawford. That was the only thing that stood out to me.
You're one of the few people that are saying that he was exposed, because everyone else refuses to say that. They just say, he dared to be great, man. He showed heart. But when other fighters lose, and they lose by decision, close decision, they got exposed. That motherfucker, Canelo got exposed. You know, it's like, Golovkin got exposed. But this guy, he showed a lot of heart.
No, he got exposed. That's what happened there. Now, I'll give him credit. He did have some heart. He didn't go out like a bitch like Charlo. You know what I'm saying? He didn't do that. And he was complaining when they stopped the fight. I salute to him on that one. But he was just outgunned. He had no, he had no business in the ring with Crawford.
I mean, Sean Porter did better than he did. Jose Benavides, he did better than he did. I mean, I think that's exposed. By the way, I got to reset something here, the internet. So everybody, because the phone, for some reason, the phone lines keep cutting off because of some connection issue. So I'm going to disconnect. You guys might, the stream might drop out. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, I think, hold on a second. Are we back? I don't know if you guys can hear me. Gonna need your help on the panel, guys, to let me know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Fantastic. All right, good.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
You stop. See, I knew somebody was gonna say that. And it's always recognize, man. I'm looking for how to kick you off the panel, man. Hold on, give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna kick recognize off the panel. Forever.
I took the feature off.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's in the contract. Yeah, you're right. The negotiation we did there. Yeah, when you re-up the contract. But shit, it's not even working.
We took it off.
Yeah, no, I'm still having connection issues here for some reason. Because people, what's his name?
Are you getting a delay, BDA? That's what it feels like. You're getting a delay.
That's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. It's connection issues here. The people say we're cutting in and out. So that's why I disconnected my internet connection here, but it seems to have. Maybe it will reestablish itself. Hold on a second. Yeah, it's bad now. People are saying it's bad now. Give me 2 seconds here. All right, think we're back. I don't know, man. Let's see. Let's go to the phone line. See if they're cutting in and out. 336. Can you hear me? No, we can't. Fuck it. Sorry about that. We'll restart the phone lines at another time, man. Oh, actually, maybe I can. Give me 2 seconds here. But I want to talk about the Andre Benavides fight.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio.
because that fight is going to be taking place, and there were some comments that I saw on Never Sober's Discord, and shout out to Lalo Soto, who's in the chat, and he was...
Since it appears you're calling back into a
Hold on
live
a second.
show, we are reconnecting you now.
All right.
Yo, can you hear me, BDA?
Yeah, but very low. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can work this out again.
Oh, shit, you're cutting out. Say that again.
Shit. La tortilla Wi-Fi no
Welcome
buenos is
to
on.
Blog Talk Radio.
Dark Heido says your porn is making your connection lag. I don't watch porn while I'm fucking... nobody else on the panel is watching porn either, so...
To start your show now.
Since it appears you're calling
Yes,
back
yes.
into a live show, we are reconnecting you now.
That's right. Reconnect me, baby. Don't be afraid. All right, I see Dora hung up. Call back, and if it doesn't work, we will do a separate calling show later on. All right, but here's what I wanted to get to here, fellas. So the Android Benavides fight is coming up, and ProBox has been doing a fantastic job. They hold what I like to call comfy cards. Shout out to Shazar from the Discord. That's why he coined it, comfy cards. And they have a show on YouTube where they have Chris Algieri, they have Paulie Malignaggi, Tim Bradley, and I forget who else they have there. And they have a little show, and they were talking about the Android fight.
It's a reporter. Dennis Androvich.
Okay, yeah, that's that dude. And so they had Paulie Malignaggi on, and this is what he had to say about Android. Listen to this.
In his prime, not only was this guy avoided, this guy was mistreated from a business point perspective. All those fans that gave those comments are biased, most likely Canelo fans or one of those kind of fans. Let me be real clear to you guys. Demetrius Andrade would have beat your favorite fighter's ass. Beat his ass all over the ring, all over the place, in his prime at any point. He would have beat his ass. No matter who you're rooting for, he would have beat that ass.
Did you guys hear that on the panel? Because I think we were cutting off.
Yeah.
Did you hear what I was playing?
Yeah, he's fucking insane.
Yeah, how they're sucking off Andrade for no apparent reason. And
he beat your favorite's ass.
Yeah, like I don't know what about his style would make anyone think that he beat their ass. You know,
because he's not a big puncher. Yeah, because he's like Malignaggi. He floats like a butterfly and sting like one too.
Right.
That must have been a reason. Because I saw the interview and they all started saying the same thing. Him, Algieri, everybody. Maybe not for 15 years, but for a certain within the certain a window, Golovkin, everybody, according to them. And I've been watching boxing. I don't recall that everybody was ducking him. That's just weird.
Wasn't his nickname as a kid Tweety? Like Tweety Bird? Like, come on, man. That's not scary. Oh, no, sorry. Boo Boo.
Yeah, which some people...
Yeah, they call him Boo Boo. So, I mean, what's up,
right.
bro?
I thought they called him Tweety Bird. You know, like the little Tweety Bird, you know.
And then what's funny about that, after he says all that, he then goes to say, yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's going to win. Like, okay. You know what I mean?
So why the fuck... Oh, man. So why the fuck does he even say that?
It's the whole prime thing. Oh, if you would have fought him in his prime... Because he's trying to use the prime thing. If he was back in his prime, how the fuck do you know? Why isn't he in his prime? It wasn't beat out of him. He hasn't never fought anybody. And if he's in his prime, shame on him because he should have kept himself in shape. Nobody put a gun to his head to make him take those stupid contracts and take on multiple promoters. Like he was taking payments from a bunch of different people, got himself in all kinds of fucking hot water with that bullshit. Kid is a knucklehead. Avoided a bunch of good fights. So for Malignaggi to come out there, but he's always got the back of the guy who's a pure boxer who doesn't have much power. You'll always see him do that.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
I will say also maybe the reason that they're doing that in hindsight is because they realize, like Espinosa said, maybe he did say something that's really true. I don't know how that guy used to make 54 because at 60 and 60, especially now at 60, it looks like he belongs at that weight because he's a big dude. So now they're thinking, okay, maybe when he was younger, when he could get away with it, he was just bigger than all those guys. And now they're really like taking stock into that. They value his size because he is a big dude.
He is, man. And look, he can crack. Andrade can crack. He's not Paulie Malignaggi level, but his punching power does decrease by a lot by the midway point of the fight. And that's a skill. To be able to maintain your power throughout a fight takes skill, because it's about the punch placement technique, and also you need stamina, like I said. So that's work ethic right there. That's a skill. That's something you learn. He doesn't have that for some reason, one reason or another. And the other thing is this. Paulie Malignaggi says, I hate to break it to you, but in his prime, he beats your favorite fighters. And I go, look, listen, I know Canelo can sometimes be overrated by some people, especially after he beat Plant. He had an extraordinary 2021, so people couldn't see him losing. But anybody can lose. But here's the news. I don't remember Canelo struggling with a level of fighter like Vanis Martiriosian or Jack Colkey. And here's the other thing. Andre was in his prime. I know for a fact he was in his physical prime when he fought Jack Colkey. That was about 7 years ago, 6-7 years ago. So he was, 29, 30 years old? Andre was at the time. He almost lost that fight. Again, his gas tank went from 100 to almost zero from one round to the other. And he went life and dead with Liam Williams, who all he has is a big right hand. And Andre spent the last 6 rounds clinching his way to the end. So, man, I'm sorry, man, but look, Canelo's never looked. What's that?
They say, okay, one of his biggest advantages is his size. Okay, I understand that, but Koke was a little guy in comparison. I think he was even shorter than Canelo. He was like 5'8", if I'm not mistaken. Dimensions and all.
Yeah, but did you hear Malignaggi? I'm a size queen.
Nah, come on. He didn't say that. What's the matter with you, Jimmy? No, but look, listen. Malignaggi knows his shit. Don't get me wrong. But in this one, I completely disagree. I mean...
Yeah, he is. Remember when he was wearing that fucking elephant trunk? As
oh, yeah. I wish I didn't, by the way. But, yeah, man, I mean...
I know.
He would lose to your favorite. I mean, he would beat your favorite fighter. I mean, if my favorite fighter was Jermell Charlo or Jermell, maybe. But he's shown that who's he dominating?
I'd rather have my favorite fighter beat than my favorite side chick beat by somebody else.
But who has he beaten, by the way? Who has he beaten convincingly that makes you go, holy shit, he put school on Canelo?
Martirosyan? He beat Martirosyan, and Martirosyan dropped him and arguably could have won that fight too.
I mean, his best win to me is Zulensky. And he only did it slightly better than Daniel Jacobs did. So I don't see that being the... I don't see that dude... I mean, he could... Don't get me wrong. He would give Canelo trouble because Andre is fast. He is elusive. He's got underrated
He'll give him
power.
trouble in the first couple of rounds, I think, but then he'll be like everybody else. You know, like, especially him, even worse. He just runs out of gas, and he won't be doing anything, and definitely lose, at least on points. He'll definitely. I already know how that will play out. I wouldn't even be interested. Yeah.
Sorry, it's got a slight delay. But he's training hard right now, and for some reason, I get the feeling that this dude's conditioning. I don't know if they're gonna give him like some good PEDs or something, because it's like sink or swim. I mean, this is your biggest payday, whether you get cut later or not. I don't know. Yeah, he's gonna be prepared. So if that gas tank can hold up, dude, I don't know, man. I don't know.
By the way, the gas tank, Gonzalo, I've said it before, man. Yeah, that's the big point of contention here, because he gets tired even when he's winning. Again, I reiterate, the fucking Zulensky fight, he looked good for the first 5 rounds, and then all of a sudden his gas tank goes to shit, and he spent the rest of the fight shuffling, making faces, throwing wild haymakers one at a time, and that was it. He did not show you that he could close the show. I give him credit for doing that against guys like Quigley, which Andre couldn't. Excuse me, Berlanga couldn't finish. But I mean, every time he stepped up in competition, he looks awful. Well, not awful, but I mean, against Zulensky was a tale of two halves. But again, he struggled with Liam Williams. Fucking Chris Eubank Jr. looked better against Liam Williams. So, in the chat, Dante Merlo says, I still think Andre is going to pull out of the fight. For some reason, I have the same suspicion, man. I think he's going to come out, oh, man, I hurt my hand. My pelvis bone.
My pinky.
Yeah,
my pinky toe.
Yeah.
Suck cock.
I mean, I gotta tell you, man, I don't know what's gonna happen here.
Oh, BDA.
Yeah.
You're the worst.
Fuck.
Like to me, Navides isn't like a big puncher either, but he does like throw volume and he got some weight and he's got speed behind that volume. And he kind of could fight like more like a shorter man, so to speak, because he started training ever since he was little. Not so much of the amateur experience where he's not really trying to outbox you. He'll just basically press and throw volume. So I mean, for the longer, for like the equally as tall Andrade with the long limbs to like really bring the arms back and forth as quickly as maybe how Benavides can when this dude is staying on your chest. And all the while, you know, he starts slipping and losing his shape, like getting a little bit too wide on his feet. Benavides is gonna keep sticking to him and just tattooing him with short little fucking combinations. Like I said, he got long arms too, but he can really like the rate of return on them shots is not the same. Andrade is gonna start dragging them arms, and on the inside, he's just gonna get pieced up. It'll be the pressure that'll get to him.
Well, that's the other thing I want to ask. Who's gonna buy this fight on the panel?
Not me.
I'd sooner jump out a window and light myself on fire on the way down.
Ah, come on. Now, wait a minute.
I'll give you my old saying. I'd rather watch paint dry.
I'd rather. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm ambivalent. I'm thinking of buying it because I'm intrigued by the match.
I think I want to watch it. You know what? I think Benavides is gonna stop this dude.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a good fight. It answers a lot of questions if he's the real deal or not. A lot of people are gonna see, oh, is he the truth or not? Then the winner gets Canelo, so it's got a lot of intrigue in some regards.
Well, that's the other thing, though. What's going to happen with Canelo now? We have these news about the PBC, Showtime getting out of the boxing business. Do you guys think that there's a clause in his contract? Usually there is, right? That it says that if they can't fulfill their obligations to him, he's free to leave. He must have something like that, right?
Probably have to pay him also. Probably have to pay him too, not just yeah, they usually have to pay him. Like that's what happened with Crawford and Bob. He was supposed to, secure X amount of fights over an X amount of period of time. So if they aren't able to do those 3 fights, barring an injury, if it's something on the PBC's end, like they're just not getting it done, I'm sure he'll be able to, walk away plus with a little back end money. So, but yeah, I think Benavides is going to fucking just pound him out. He's just not going to be able to withstand the beating. And I'm not going to spend $100 to watch a guy after fucking 15 years. Is he finally really not a fucking bum? Like, people went around 15 years. I'm not dropping a C note on that. I'd sooner give it to a fucking shelter.
In his prime, he would whoop your favorite fighter's ass.
That's right. That's right.
I would have said, but Paulie, you're my favorite fighter.
Oh,
he would have destroyed me. You see. Hey, get off the Pontiac. Okay, where was I? Like,
I mean, I don't know, man.
He gives Italians bad name.
Nah, come on. Jimmy, Paulie's good people's. He's just, I don't know, like you said, maybe he gets hypnotized by the boxing aspect, the pure boxing, like you said. But I want to say something too.
Yeah, no, I like Paulie. I'm just busting balls.
Of course, that's what we do on this show. But I'll say this, man. This Demetrius Andrade thing, I took it to the lab. This comment.
I don't like nobody from Brooklyn, so.
Oh,
nice.
come on. No, wait a minute. But listen, this
you
comment.
Down in the lab?
Yeah, I took the comment from the lab.
It's me again. Yay, ski you.
So now what happens if we play it in reverse? Let's see if we can hear. Did you hear that? Let me play it again.
Yeah.
He's saying, buy the pay-per-view. Buy the pay-per-view, please.
I thought you said Yeezy. Yeezy. Do it again.
Oh, hold on a second. Where was it?
It's me again. Yay, ski you. It's me.
Hold on. Yeah, he's saying, he's saying, pay me, please. My life depends on it. My last chance. I gotta tell you, man. Hold on a second. I'm trying.
I remember people used to say that, like 15 years ago, actually, like 10, 15 years ago. Skew.
I'm telling
That's
you,
old.
all these slang words that I hear today, they're like refurbished. I've been heard like these. Oh, you guys didn't use it. Yes, man. We've been saying that.
Let me see if I
Cloud
played.
chaser.
I play it in
That shit
reverse
was
here.
out since the fucking late 80s.
I'm gonna play it in reverse and then I'm gonna magnify it. See if we can find any hidden elements.
Lobito!
Oh, what the fuck! I gotta tell you. See, you find out. That's what they call the secret elements. Yeah.
That's organic right there, Lobito.
Those are the hidden fragments hidden within. Somebody did that on purpose, by the way. When you can find those type of elements in there, let's see what else did it say here. If I played in reverse,
Remember the Led Zeppelin song, PDA or Damien?
was that?
The number of the beast, the Led Zeppelin song, because we did it. I did it with one of my friends with the old school what do you call it? The discs. We played it backwards and it said on the Stairway to Heaven song, Led Zeppelin. Literally, we did it. The number of the beast is 666.
Oh, wait a minute.
Swear to God.
We don't go for that type of stuff here on the BDA, man. This is a family channel, all religious, all Christian. So, I mean, I'm telling you, we don't go for that. By the way, Never Sober said, "Hey, B, are you gonna do on Second Renaissance? Are you gonna go to a cemetery?" Because I think I said that last year. Go to a cemetery and do a Ouija board session. I said, nah, fucking way, man. I ain't doing that shit. Soothsayer, he lives in the middle of nowhere in the Appalachian Mountains. He's into that type of stuff. Let him do it. And we'll wire him some money. We'll compel him to do it. But I ain't doing that. By the way, if I...
you know what you could do the next Second Renaissance?
What's that?
Go to a cemetery. You and Bucho dig a 6 foot hole. Dig a 6 foot hole. You go in there, Bucho throws it on you, and see if you could get out.
Amazing.
Yeah, what do you think? What's the matter with you, man?
I thought about that Ouija board stuff too, man. I might be a little chicken shit to do it.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't work either.
That's not gonna work, man.
No, that doesn't work either.
That's not gonna work, man.
Either.
Well, listen, the phone lines kind of got screwed up there. If anybody still wants to call in, see if they work, but I think we're going to wrap it up. We talked about, what did we talk? We talked about the Pro Grey Haney conference. We talked about Showtime going out of the business, boxing business. We talked about, oh, by the way, let me just show you, because I can't share, maybe I can share the screen now, because I had to shut it off because I think it was fucking up the internet there. But I want to show you when Paulie Malignaggi said that he would have beaten your favorite fighters, talking about Andre. Look at it. Look at the face of everybody on that panel when he said that. Hold on a second. Here we go.
In his prime, not only was this guy avoided, this guy was mistreated from a business point perspective. All those fans that gave those comments are biased, most likely Canelo fans or one of those kind of fans. Let me be real clear to you guys. Demetrius Andrade would have beat your favorite fighter's ass. Beat his ass all over the ring.
Look at Timothy Bradley right there. You see that smile?
I think Timothy Bradley say, "Get the fuck out of here." That's the smile of a "get the hell out of here."
You think so?
No,
what's the rest of the panel?
He was on the same page with it. Recognized.
And he's being deceptive. I think.
Well, he's the first one that said it. Recognize he's the first one that said he was speaking out for Andrade. They were all freaking on the same page.
Okay, maybe I was wrong, but I smell bullshit.
Well, I tell you what.
Well, you gotta watch his reaction when he says that he doesn't think that he's actually gonna win.
Oh, he
By the way,
that?
if you see Paulie Malignaggi's the way his one eye is bigger than the other.
Yeah, what is
by
that?
A little bit. I have the same thing, man.
It's brain damage, probably.
Yeah, I think so, man. My fucking brother ruined me, man.
You know, that explains a couple of.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Gonzalo.
No, I was gonna say talking about somebody like that in boxing. Well, boxing movies. Sylvester Stallone. He's also Italian. He had like something wrong with one side of his face. That's why kind of he was like
Gonzalo. One punch could do that, man. One punch. It happened to me. You know what it feels like when you get hit in that. I'm willing to. I would be interested in Paulie Malignaggi's response and ask him, what happened to your eyes? Boxing. I would ask him, how did that feel? Because for me, it felt like when sweat gets in your eye, you start squinting, you start like blinking. Come on, BDA.
Yeah, it's true.
What did you say?
No, I said you're right. You're right. When that sweat gets into your eyes, that's
no.
No. I didn't say anything else. But I was going to say that if you think about using this type of technology where we can actually look for hidden fragments within a piece of audio or even video. So we had Paulo Malignaggi saying that this.
Guys, Demetrius Andrade would have beat your favorite fighter's ass.
Okay, so let's put it in reverse and see the hidden meaning of what he's really trying to say. This is in reverse now. What do you think that means, fellas? I'm having a hard time deciphering the meaning behind that.
Means your girl, the girl you love is no good.
All right, I don't know, man. Maybe let's see what people in the chat are saying.
Gross.
Boo Boo would beat Floyd. Knockout Ned says he's laughing. John at B Norwood says he said you were a wimp. Yeah, I think that's what I heard. Dark Hado says, BD, you have too much fun with that. Hey, listen, when you can see and have technology that lets you really peer into a person's subconscious in what he's trying to say, yeah, of course I'm going to have fun with it. But I still don't understand what that meant, though. Again, Paulo Malignaggi saying Demetrius Andrade would beat your favorite fighter.
I don't know about those guys because, quote unquote, I mean, they're experts. They're boxers. Like, literally, like, they box power punchers, but they're also analysts. But I think everybody is like, you can say this about, for example, they're saying about Andrade now. He's been the guy that's been most ducked in recent memory. But if they speak about, like, everybody like that, you might get it wrong 9 times, but eventually you will get it right. And if this dude wins, they're gonna say he's gonna clean. He's gonna fucking like be like the one that we told you. Because eventually you stay on saying stuff like that. You might get it wrong 9 times, but eventually you will get it right. And I think a lot of these people, they bank on that when they're proven right all of a sudden because they just kept repeating something that eventually was just gonna happen by just the odds of things, Statistics.
Well, Gonzalo, I'm giving him a good shot. I'm giving Andrade a good shot of pulling this fight. I told you that the last time too, but to say that he would wipe the floor and beat the most of the guys 5, 6, 7 years ago, I mean, again, he was struggling with fucking Jack Colkay and Vanis Martirosyan. I mean, come on, is he really gonna be able to pull off a win over Prime Golovkin, Canelo, and even Daniel Jacobs? I don't know, man. I doubt it, but he could still pull off this win. He could pull it off. All I'm saying is that part of that statement sort of perplexed me. But you're right, though. If he wins, people... But here's the other thing, Gonzalo. If Andrade wins, people are not going to be able to say, oh, man, what could it have been? Because if he beats Benavidez, he gets a shot at Canelo. Canelo's not afraid of this guy. He was going to fight him back in middleweight, but then some shenanigans happened with the IBF, I believe, or the WBC. I forget. Jimmy, or any of you guys remember exactly what happened with those hijinks? That Canelo was supposed to fight Andrade? Because people up to this day, people keep saying, oh, he docked Andrade.
No, Andrade, when he was in HBO, money was offered to him to fight Canelo. He wanted nothing to do with it.
Now, but get into some, if you could, please take the lead and give us some the context or like what exactly happened. That was, and at which point was that in their careers?
Well, they were both, I think, at 154. It was right at the same time, right before Canelo left 154, right before he fought Triple G. I believe that's when Andrade was signed to HBO for a 3-fight deal. And names were brought up to him, and there was names he said yay or nay. It was as simple as that. He didn't want nothing to do with Canelo. Just like he didn't want nothing to do with Ryder. I mean, dude's been ducking people his whole career. Like you said, don't tell me about what he would do in his prime. When he was in his prime, he was going life and death with fucking people that Triple G like played with his food. Remember what he did to you know what I mean? These guys, it's just so ridiculous, and yeah, it's stupid. What are you trying to say? When he was in his prime, he was struggling, going life and death with basic dudes. It just doesn't make any sense. I think he's
Yeah,
a
it
local
doesn't.
guy. I think he's from Rhode Island, next to New York, and I think he's friendly with him. People who meet him say he's a nice guy. Andrade, they do say he's a nice dude, like a good dude, like he doesn't cop an attitude or think big of himself. He's like actually cool outside the ring. So maybe that's it. Maybe they're just pulling for him for that factor. But when pull comes to shove, push comes to shove, he wasn't going to co-sign him to beat Benavidez, though, was he? So it's
I
like,
think
dude,
that's
get
what
out of
Never
here, you
Sober.
disingenuous fucking guinea.
I think that's what Never Sober said. That ultimately he's speaking Malignaggi speaking Benavides. I can't blame him. But again, hey, don't be surprised if Andrade pulls it off. That's all I'm saying.
No, they're also trying to excuse him ducking people too when they're talking about the money. They're like, there's some fights that he could have took and he kind of didn't, but it's because how much he signed on for, and he didn't want to accept that amount of money. He felt like he was worth more, and whoop de whoop. And then they talked about him and Chris Algieri were on the same management, the same promoter team, and then Algieri just started talking about the same thing. Like, yeah, I kept taking fights, but Andrade was smarter than me. He didn't take fight. Like, I don't know, bro. They were trying to excuse.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. 15 years ago, he would have beat your favorite fighters, but now they're not picking him. All of a sudden, in his greatest moment, the best opportunity, he got to shine to correct all them wrongs or to prove himself. Now they're saying he loses, but before he wins. So make that make sense.
It just don't, bro.
No, you're right, Gonzalo. It's because he's old now. But again, just last time we say it, 5 years ago when he was in his prime, and before that as well, he was struggling with Vanis Martirosyan and Jack Colkay. So, and people can say, yeah, but those guys are good. Okay, yeah, they're good. But are we really going to say they're on the same level as Golovkin and Canelo were at that time, or Daniel Jacobs? No. So I don't understand what these people are talking about, but we'll see what happens there. I had to shut off the phone lines, fellas, because the internet just will not give me a break here today. But I think that's about it, man. We'll wrap it up now. We're almost at the 2-hour mark. Let's keep it short and sweet. The other thing I wanted to mention is that don't forget to hit the like, subscribe if you yet to do so already. Anything you guys want to mention or say that you didn't get a chance to before we move on? All right. Well, listen.
How
I just
I forgot. Well, I can look that up myself.
I guess I'd just say don't cook bacon and with your shirt off. That's pretty much it.
There you go. And ladies, always wipe front to back. That cannot be. Anyway, to the lady viewers.
Exactly.
There you go.
Women
all right.
from front to back.
That is right. And hopefully with my face. What was that?
We're crazy to say.
Yeah, we're having connection issues here. But listen, fellas, thanks again for joining us. Want to give a shout out to everybody that donated the super chat, everybody that tried to call in. Shout out to you, fellas. Thank you for bearing with us with these phone issues. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm talking about Kenny One Janik, Unknown. I am your leader in the house. Shout out to I am your leader. Baphomet was in the house. Shout out to that demon. Shout out to Alfredo Contreras, Unknown, Eparocua, Protector General, Campos Vasquez, Bray. If I forgot anybody, it's because we got to go. Windy City. Shout out to you, fellas. Thanks for joining us. See you on the next one.